Well, hello, everybody out there in the You Are Worthy Network. It's great to be with you all. I can't even think of what day it is this week. It's Thursday, right? Somebody help me
Thursday,
out.
twenty-six.
Yeah, yeah, the month's almost over too. Where has that gone? It was just several weeks ago. It seemed like we were revealing what our theme word for 2026 was going to be, and here we are entering the last month of the first quarter. Crazy. I always say, people say time flies when you're having fun. I said, you get a little older, it just flies. So you better have fun. Um, but it is good to be with everybody today. And I'm super excited to introduce you to our guest here in just a second. Wendy and I have gotten to know each other a little bit. I guess, I don't know, maybe the last 3 or 4 months, we've Zoomed 2 or 3 times. And I think you're going to find Wendy the real deal, very authentic, loves God, and just is a true servant and wants to help people. And I think that's going to come shining through today. So I'm excited to introduce you to her. Let me tell you what her bio says, and then we'll get to hear what she says live. Wendy Lee is a 12-year entrepreneur, business strategist, and financial stewardship coach who has generated more than $14 million in online revenue. She helps entrepreneurs make more money with proven strategies and systems, manage it well through education and personalized financial planning, and multiply it by teaching them how to invest wisely in both the right financial products and with the right people. As the co founder of Prosper in the Kingdom and creator of the 3M Wealth Framework, Wendy equips faith driven entrepreneurs with the practical tools and biblical principles they need to build sustainable income, gain financial clarity, and create long term kingdom impact. Her mission is simple: help people build wealth God's way so they can live more, give more, and lead well. I can't wait till we dig into what you do, Wendy. But first things first, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you, Steve. I'm so glad to be here. I know we've been planning this for a few months and glad we're finally making it happen. Get those schedules aligned.
It's not easy sometimes, but God's timing is always perfect, for sure. One of the many benefits of having this group is that um, it's just God has blessed it so much with its growth. We're approaching 10,000 members in 6.5 months,
Awesome.
which is crazy. But I love that I can now see people watching around the globe.
Mm.
And I'm even starting to meet people and interview people in different parts of the world. So I never want to assume, although most of the people I interview are here in the States, but I want you to be able to tell people specifically in the States, where are you?
Yeah, I am in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So been here for about to celebrate 5 years living here and absolutely love it.
Yeah, Chattanooga is a cool town. For those of you that are like watching in a bigger market somewhere outside the US, Chattanooga is like an hour and change, maybe an hour and a half, depending on traffic, north of Atlanta.
Mm.
And then it's about the same, an hour and a little change, southeast of Nashville, just for a
Yep.
little perspective, geography quiz, if you will. But tell us, so they're in Chattanooga for the last 5 years.
Mhm.
I know you also have family with you. With you, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about your family.
Yeah, so I am a mom of six. I have my kids are 23, 22, 20, 15, 14, 8. So my first grandbaby on the way in like a couple weeks. So
Wow.
due early March. Yeah, like 2 weeks away, which is crazy. And my oldest just got engaged to be married. Different one than the one having the baby. And so yeah, we're all over I always wanted a big family. My mom had five sisters growing up, and so I had lots of cousins. We did stuff together all the time. And then she only had two kids, my mom. So it was me and my sister, and I was like, I want lots of kids. So yeah, so I have four biological kids and two adopted from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And so they joined our family in the States in 2018.
I love that, and congratulations. It sounds like you got some exciting things going
Yes,
on with the family, with the grandbaby on the way and the wedding down the road.
yes.
Exciting times for sure. And I've always meant to ask you that too. You just answered it. Just on your profile, I was like, I wonder where the kids are from
Yeah.
specifically, the last two. So I appreciate you sharing where the
Yeah.
last two were adopted from. That's cool. Um, so let's have a little fun. I want to take you back in the time machine, quite a ways.
All
No,
right.
not quite a ways. I happen to think I know where you went to high school because you may have told me at one time. Just for you guys, so you know, Wendy and I am a little older than her for sure, but we grew up in the same town,
Mhm.
Franklin, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Franklin back then, you may have heard of Franklin. It's like 25 miles south of Nashville. And it's changed a lot over the last, well, it's changed a lot in the last 10 years, but it's changed a lot over the last 25 years.
Mhm.
And a lot of celebrities live there, country music stars, et cetera, et cetera. But and I can't wait for you to describe it too, because when I went to Franklin High, there was only a couple of high schools. And one of them was Franklin, where I went, and the other
Yeah.
was Page, where I
Yeah.
think you went, right?
Yep. I did.
And
Yep.
Franklin was very country back
Yep.
then. Arguably the nicest restaurant was Shoney's, or or I think it was Ponderosa or Bonanza. I can't
So
remember.
I worked at
But
Logan, Steve, and that's where Tim McGraw and Faith Hill would hang out when they first got married.
oh my goodness, Logan's. Yeah, that see, I'm showing my age. That was later for sure.
That was high
But
end.
that's high end stuff right there. Yeah. Throw your peanuts on the floor. High end. But take us back to Page High School,
Mm,
Arno Road. See, I remember.
hmm
Uh, Senior year in high school.
hmm
2 weeks left. You've got the cap, you've got the gown, you've been marking the dates off on the calendar. Maybe you've got the class ring. I don't know. Are you, 17, 18 year olds,
hmm
they run the gamut of emotions, right? I want to get into the mindset a little bit of 18-year-old Wendy Lee. Was she like kicking and screaming, don't want to leave high school? I love my teachers. I love this environment. I love my classmates. Or was it, I can't wait to get out of here. Can we grit? Okay. All right. All right. So tell us why that is,
Yeah.
and what was the plan at that point?
Oh gosh. So I graduated when I was 17 years old. Um, moved to Tennessee, moved to Franklin my freshman year. So going into my freshman year. So my entire experience at that point of Tennessee was my 4 years of high school and moved from inner city up northeast to the most country high school you could ever imagine. And so um, I was actually, I don't know if I was officially engaged yet, but I was getting married. I got married a year after high school ended. So I got married when I was still 18. I graduated when I was 17, got married at 18. So I was with that guy, my now ex-husband, but and I was very church, like I loved my youth group. Those were my people more than my high school people were my people. I was very involved in my church and youth group, and I just wanted to get married and have kids. I did not have any plans for college. I'll never forget because I was pretty smart. And my AP biology or anatomy and physiology, I think it was, teacher my senior year said, "Where's everybody going to college?" I was the only person in the classroom that said I wasn't going to college. And she looked at me and she said, "Then you're not going to amount to anything." I remember her saying that to me, and I was like,
Mm,
okay. And my plan was actually to be a Christian singer. and was working with a record label in Cool Springs, Tennessee. That I was on my way to a record deal. I actually auditioned for a group called Sierra, which was a Christian female group at the time, um, and had an agent. I don't know if you remember Carmen back in the day, but Carmen's agent was my agent. And so Joe
Yep.
Jones. And yeah, and I thought that was my path. I was going to get married. I was going to be a Christian singer, and I dreamed of being on stages and on tour across the world. And and that was, yeah, that was my full plan. No, none of that happened, by the way. That was my plan. And I was just young, innocent, and yeah, my life did not turn out anything like I thought, but it's better.
Wow. So, and I do have to say, I think you put out some video of you singing. I don't know, it may have been just, something organic, but she does have a really, really good voice. And your oldest sings, right?
My oldest, yes. So because I love singing. Like until I became an entrepreneur, everyone knew me as a singer. Even though I had a corporate career and everything, I did, I was on my way to a record deal, but that record company went under. I wound up recording my own record at one point in time, just 4 songs that you can find online. I sang, I led worship for many, many years. I used to sing downtown, Nashville. I did Friday nights for about a year and would sub in on Saturdays for some country cover bands. And so that's how I identified, and then I became an entrepreneur, and it was like people in my entrepreneurial world had no idea I was a singer. So it's always funny when I put something out there and they're like, what, you sing? Because that was my full identity before. But I always, of all my kids, right, I'm like, one of you please be a singer or be a musician. And my oldest, from the time he was 2, I mean, his favorite movie at the time, I think, was Jurassic Park. And there was this scene, you probably even remember it. People watching this probably remember the scene where like the pterodactyls flying over the waterfall in the beginning of, one of the scenes or one of the movies. And the music in the background, he would hum like harmonies, like not even the melody of the song. He would hum these harmonies. And I'm like, oh, he's so talented. Steve, his whole childhood, I would beg him to sing. I'm like, your voice, you are so talented. Like, you're one of the best vocalists I've ever heard. His ear for music, he could sing all these different parts. It was dorky. He wanted nothing to do with it. I couldn't get him to do his singing lessons, take any instrument lessons, nothing. And then he's in a senior year of high school, and he becomes friends with these kids who have a band. And musically, like musician wise, they are phenomenal. Their singing was okay. And so Mikey goes and he's like, can I sing? And he starts singing, and they were like, dude. So
Hello.
he instantly became the lead singer of the band. They're still together today. What, 6 years later? And I'm actually going to their live concert they're having. They're doing a show next Friday night in Nashville. So yeah, but they have
Wow.
two albums out. They're about to launch their third, and he gets better every time I hear him. He's awesome.
Wow. Third record,
Hmm.
playing in Nashville, he's the one getting married too, right?
Hmm. Yep.
So life is sweet right now.
Yeah. I'm proud of
Oh,
him.
that's cool. That's really cool. And did you say you sang at oh my gosh, you said it, Summer Lights?
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
I thought I heard that. I was like,
Uh-uh.
I
Uh-uh.
think Summer Lights was probably done before you were coming up, but
No, no. I used to sing
yeah.
downtown. There was a man, what was it called? Might have been called Roosters on 12th Avenue. I would sing on Friday
Don't
nights there
recall.
anyway. I can't remember the
Wow.
name of it.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely learned something that I did not know. So that's cool. and you've already alluded to entrepreneurship, which we'll get into here in a second. But what's the bridge in between? What kind of
Hmm.
careers did you do
Yeah.
after the music dream shattered, so to speak?
Yeah. I was
You
still
picked up.
trying to do the music dream. So the long story short, I was got married young. And my husband at the time was at MTSU and he was going through their music program. He was a musician as well, bass player and singer. And um, so I had to get a job and work while he was in college. And so I had a lady at church say, "Hey, my company needs to hire someone temporarily to like file folders." I'm like, "Okay, sure." Because prior to that, I worked at a tanning salon in Logan's Roadhouse. And so anyway, I started working there, filing in a filing cabinet, like literally filing folders. And it was a small startup company in Cool Springs in Franklin, Tennessee, 40 people. And they were a pesticide, all natural pesticide company. The president of the company, the CEO, was former president of Procter and Gamble Canada. So he's kind of a big deal. And his son, who was the one that brought me in to help, was actually the brand manager previous to that at Frito-Lay company. So he did mac and cheese, he did Taco Bell, he did all kinds of. And so these were like really smart guys in branding and marketing and running brands and companies and all that. And I started doing it very quickly. Like they would give me stuff to do and I was done like really fast. And I'm from New Jersey originally. And in New Jersey, they move a lot quicker than people in the South. So, so I would get things done quick. And so okay, here's more to do. Here's more to do. And then there was this guy, Jerry, who this is actually a fun story because there's a lot of lessons. I couldn't stand Jerry. Jerry was the biggest jerk. And he was so cold and so like talked down. And he basically asked the guy who hired me, Edward, he said, "Edward, can I have Wendy do this project for me, whatever?" And he's like, "Sure." So I was sitting in this room with no windows. It was like a closet in this office. And Jerry brings me the stuff to do. And he basically says to me, "Here's a pile of material safety data sheets. I need you to get them approved by the EPA, and I don't want you to ask me any questions." I'm 19. Never worked in an office in my life. I'm like, I don't even know what the EPA is. And
Yeah, yeah.
P.S., this is like, 25 years ago. So there's not Google, there's not Chat GPT. Like I'm literally like having to use yellow pages on the phone book to figure out who to call to know what the heck I'm doing. And so I think there was AOL. But anyway, long story short, it was the most frustrating couple weeks of my life. But and Jerry was a jerk the entire time and was like, "Don't ask me questions. I told you don't ask me questions." So I wound up getting it's like he ticked me off enough that I was like, "I'm going to show you, you know?" And so I figured it out. And I wound up that time that I spent at that company, I moved so quickly. I learned more in that year and a half than I think I've ever learned anywhere in my life. Because I wound up working with every aspect of that company from literal formulation with the scientists who were in our office, in a suite in our office, formulation, working through the entire manufacturing process and creating Excel spreadsheets. I learned Excel. I became an Excel master from one of the guys that worked there that showed me how to do all that, accounting for loss and what we needed to do for formulations, blah, blah, blah. All the way to working with the graphic designer and the marketing team and the branding team, and then customer service once products were delivered to customers. So I had my hand in literally every aspect of that business. Um, and
Hmm.
learned so much. Helped write a national TV commercial with Jane Seymour. Like it was the coolest experience, and it really set me up for a really great career in the corporate world in sales and marketing. And I never struggled finding a job from that point forward. And I loved it. In the meantime, I sang, I led worship at church, and put myself through college. So, and
Wow.
had two
That
babies. So,
woo. Yeah, I can see the Jersey girl like come out in that. Like, yeah, I'll show you. You without the training, I'll figure it out.
by the time
And
I
so
left there, Jerry was one of my favorite people. I loved
there
him
you
to death.
go.
And he taught me what Marie Forleo always says, who's from Jersey as well, has her own business coaching and stuff. Everything is figure outable. And that's what I learned from Jerry. So,
That's a great philosophy. And I'm older than Wendy, so I can say this. So as she was describing that story, for all of you guys that are the younger generation, you will have to Google AOL and what Yellow Pages is. So anyway, I digress. Okay, so you parlayed this experience
yeah.
into sales and marketing in the corporate world. I am curious, like in the entrepreneur pool, did you dab your toes in it, or was there a point where you just dove straight in? So I know I'm missing some space in
Yeah.
there. Fill us in.
Yeah, so when I was 30 years old, I graduated with my bachelor's degree. It took me several years of going back and forth, between having babies and going to school. I was a mom of three at that time. My baby was born and not quite a year old when I graduated. And I thought, oh, now I have my degree. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder even more, right? I needed this to get to that next level. And I worked for two companies. Wound up actually the second company I worked for, what one I worked for a year. It wasn't a good fit for a whole lot of reasons that are not going to be talked about on this call. The next place I worked for was actually my old boss, that Edward I told you about in the beginning. He had a new startup company with a venture capitalist firm out of Nashville. And he's like, Wendy, I can't think of anyone better to help us launch this. And so worked for them for a year. And long story short, it was a VC company, startup. They wound up taking a different direction. We did very well for what they commissioned us to do, but they decided to take the company pharmaceutical. And so we all got laid off, all of us. And so
Mm.
then I had one more job working for the company that sells muscle milk. And and I was only there, I think, 6 months. So I started working there and was on the road all the time. It was very different than my other jobs. Not a great industry. Hated it. And somebody approached me about network marketing. My first response was literally like, no, I have a real job. I have a career. I was so rude. I like hindsight. I'm like, I can't imagine if somebody would say that to me today. But I was like, I thought when somebody came to me about like a home-based business, I thought that's what people that don't have a career and just want something to occupy their time do, not to make money. And then to bring the story back, I actually wound up saying yes because the lady who was talking to me about it was recording an album with the same producer I was. And she said, Wendy, this is how I'm paying for my album. And she said, in fact, do you know Wendy
Mm.
Green, who I auditioned for her group, Sierra, back when I was 18 years old? And she said, Wendy Green is doing this and she's making X amount a month, right? And it was a lot of money, like 4 times what I made in my corporate career. And I was like, what? And so I'm like, what do I have to lose? Let me try it out. And so I wound up saying yes to a skincare network marketing company that was really big and booming in Nashville. And my first 2 months, I barely did anything because I had no idea what I was doing, and neither did the girl who recruited me. And then in January, so that was October, in January of 2014, I went to a company event that they put on, and I saw a girl on stage that was about my age. And she said, I have a corporate career and I make 6 figures and I make more money doing this from home in my side, in my, couple hours a day. And I saw her and I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. And so I found the most successful person that lived in our area that I could find, who I'm still friends with, Miss Tracy Bonds. I thanked her the other day for being such a great mentor for me. Tracy Bonds was making 6 figures a month in network marketing. And I latched onto her and I said, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. And 2 months later, I actually got laid off again. So it was my second layoff in a row.
Mm.
And instead of being stressed, I was like, bye. And that was my last corporate gig.
Wow.
And I had no choice but to be successful at what I was doing. And so I wound up surpassing my full-time income in about a year and a half of my network marketing business. And by my 2.5 years in, I was making well over six figures and into multiple six figures in network marketing. And it changed my life. Allowed me to have more kids, adopt kids, be home with my kids instead of traveling all the time.
Yeah, I was saying you probably had four kids somewhere in that description, did you?
Well, I went from three to we decided we were adopting. The long story short is we actually adopted three kids, but one of them was only with us for a short time. But deciding to adopt three kids to finding out I was pregnant. So my daughter was actually born a year before my other kids came home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow, wow. Yeah.
it was a
Big
lot.
changes there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so now you've got the taste of entrepreneurship and your all the fruits that come with it, all the hard work that come with it. Um, how many different network marketing companies did you work for?
So I've officially built at three companies. That one I wound up selling my downline so I could sell my business in 2019. Started another company and did that until 2024, and then have a third one that I'm involved with now. I would say though, my first one was really I was all in on, and my second and third network marketing companies are kind of side hustles to what I do now. So,
Okay. So tell us about the current project and what you
yes.
love about it.
Yeah. So when I was with my first network marketing company, and I was surrounded by people making a lot of money. Like I didn't know that was possible for people to make six figures a month. Like that is insane to me. And I was surrounded by them. And
Mm,
um and I made more money than I could have ever imagined. But one thing I found is that everybody was broke at different levels. Even the people making six figures a month were feeling stressed financially. And I didn't understand it. And I didn't have a solution. And I didn't know the problem. There was no solution because I didn't know what the problem was. And I remember one of the mentors who was making 300,000 plus per month, her saying at one point, yeah, my financial advisor keeps telling me I need to put money away, but he doesn't understand this is going to keep growing. This comes forever. This money will be here forever. Hindsight, I'm like, that company, by the way, got rid of their downline pay. So that person went
mm.
from making multiple six figures a month to zero overnight. She's doing fine. She found another company, but so I about 5 years ago, well, it's 2020, it was 6 years ago. I went and spoke at a networking event, and somebody in the crowd wanted to hire me to help with social media. And as I started helping with social media for his business, I realized what he's teaching I've never heard before. And it was different ways that money works and how to get market gains and protect against loss and how to treat your money when it comes in the door. And he just talked about money different. And so he's like, I kept asking questions and I was helping him with social media. So I wanted to understand all the things he taught. And he said, why don't you just get a financial plan? And I was like, I don't want you to see my finances. And that's what a lot of us do is we think we need to get it all good to present it to a financial planner. When really the whole goal, the whole point is that financial planner takes our mess and shows us how to make it good.
Makes it,
Okay. And so I said fine reluctantly, and I cried through two Zoom sessions of talking about my finances because on paper I should be in a very good spot, but I wasn't. And I was always, stressed. I had more money coming in than ever before, and I was probably more financially stressed than ever before. And as got knowledge after these two Zoom sessions, not only did I now know what to do with my money, but I was empowered to make major changes because I saw what was possible. Like it was no longer just this chaos and confusion. It was literally like, here are the steps to get where you want to go. And it empowered me and helped me make better decisions around my money from that point forward. So I started telling everybody, I'm like, you need to go get a financial plan with this guy because it'll change your life. Like he's teaching stuff. Because I'd met with several financial planners before that. Um, when I was married and I would meet with my husband, the financial planner would like direct all conversation to my husband, not knowing that I was the breadwinner and I was making more, a lot of the financial decisions. And, and that kind of bothered me at the time. And then there were financial planners we'd meet with who I'm like, are you trying to get me to understand or are you trying to make me feel stupid so I just trust you? That's kind of how I felt. And so because this was such a different experience, I started telling people. And I'm like, you got to go get your financial plan. You got to go get your financial plan. And anyway, and so this guy says to me, Wendy, why don't you just go get licensed and work with us? And I said yes, and it took me a whole year to decide to get my license. Finally got my license and had a very good first year of bringing people in and getting basically commission splits and learning a lot about money in the process, like really understanding all these financial products and all these things you could do. But was never like on fire, passionate about like, this is my purpose, right? But I did it alongside my coaching and alongside my network marketing. And then early 2025, there was a major shift. We rebranded to Prosper in the Kingdom instead of our former company name, and read a book that if anybody, this is the number one book I recommend reading if you want to get your money right, called The 5 Wealth Secrets That 96% Don't Know by Craig Hill. It is a Christian book and about finances and about the wealth secrets. And I had listened to this book several times before, but for some reason in 2025, when I listened to it and where I was emotionally and then our rebranding to Prosper in the Kingdom, it was like God was like, it's time. This is your calling. This is what I have for you. And I moved in 2025 from the mindset of, oh, I want to teach people how money works and how to manage their money well, right? Lord, help me to be faithful in my tithe and manage my money. Like that was my mindset. And I thought that was right. And God showed me that that is not the right mindset. The right mindset and heart posture is, Lord, everything I have is yours. Help me to steward every penny with a purpose because it's all his. None of it's mine. I'm the manager of everything that's his. And so that shift has brought me, and seeing what's happening in our world and seeing Christians, the more people I meet with on the financial side, more clients I meet with, the more passionate I become about getting the message out. Money, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil, right? And we are not to worship money. And I always thought people that worship money were wealthy people. And I have come to learn that the people that are obsessed about money are typically the ones that don't know how to manage it. And it always runs away from them. And they feel constantly stressed. And money, when the paycheck hits, we're in a great mood, we feel good. And when the paycheck dissipates, we're screaming out to God going, help me, right? Like our emotions are controlled so much by money, and that's not the way God designed it. And if we become the managers of the money that God has entrusted to our care, money should never be a burden. It should be a tool. And am I even there yet? No, because I'm undoing and rebuilding from years of neglect and poor money management and poor mindset. And, but what I've been walking through and what I've walked through with my clients and what I see people walking through, it has made me so incredibly passionate and so clear that my calling is to help Christians become debt free, free from the bondage of debt, to learn how to increase the amount of money they make by leaning into their gifts and their calling, and to steward well. Like I said, every penny has a purpose. Steward well every dollar that comes in the door and direct it with purpose. And then understand that you can build generational wealth without you yourself being wealthy when you put the right things in place, the right structure in place. And my goal, my dream is to help Christians become financially free so they can be radically generous for the kingdom. Because we have too much money in the hands of evil people doing evil
Yep.
things. And Satan has used debt to strangle the church. And instead of people going to the church for help, they go to the government, which makes everything upside down and corrupt. So,
Oh, yes.
got a little heavy, sorry.
No, no, this is good. Like you lit up like a Christmas tree, and I know you already know this, but when you started talking about prosper in the kingdom, you lit up for sure. Um, t tell us, let's say you're working, take a sampling of the people you've worked with that have that aha moment, right? The light switch goes on as you're explaining to them. Give us a little before and after, and specifically, I'll guide you in that. This is not, well, maybe it will be easy for you since you're so passionate about it, but like if you took those sampling of clients that had the same perspective, the same mindset of money that you did, describe how they felt in 3 words. Describe how they felt coming to you for help before and after. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's hard to narrow it down to those 6 words
I don't know if
before
it
and
can be
after.
3 words, but why, how didn't I know?
Ooh.
So most people, by the time we're done a financial planning call or second session, their question is always, how come I didn't know that this stuff was possible? Why didn't I know?
Mm.
Like, because we teach the strategies that the wealthy use that most financial advisors of the wealthy will not talk to you about. I mean, I see right now, I've been seeing a certain product that we heavily promote because it's extremely beneficial on Facebook. And they were like, if you have $1 million, if you have $1 million, that's all it's marketing to. In fact, I went and filled out their
Mm.
online to get their freebie, and it said, what is your net worth? It started at $1 million and it went up to 100 million. So most of the companies that are teaching what we teach will not share these secrets with you if you're not a millionaire. And so, and people don't understand why, because just like so many things, like public education and different things, um, we are taught to lean into a system that does not serve us, but keeps us in bondage. And that's what middle America is taught, how to get your monthly payments that you can afford, not looking at the actual cost of things.
Right.
And everything is assets under management, meaning we put our money with an advisor who puts it in stocks, mutual funds, whatever, IRAs, and that advisor gets paid a percentage of your money, whether you grow or whether you fall. They get paid. And that's what most people are taught. And that is not what the wealthy do.
And I'm assuming the big difference is you're not marketing to just those people because the people like yourself that are involved in the leadership level of the organization, they have the heart of Jesus and they want to help everybody.
Yep. We're not in this for our commissions. We are in this to set people free. And we believe that God will bless us financially with commissions because of the number of people we are going to help, not because of the net worth of people.
So what's next?
For me,
Yeah.
I am right now we do our financial planning. I, like I said, I have felt a fire in me recently about this. And what's next is, I think, full coaching programs for people. I think public speaking engagements. I think building my agency. I have in Prosper in the Kingdom, I think we have about 25 agents on my team specifically. There's about 10. I would love to build an agency of 1,000 people, 1,000 agents out there with the heart that matches ours. Um, and for us to be able to take people, I was talking to a lady today. She's in that spot where she's like, I can't even pay my bills. I have her
Mm.
set up with a program to help her start bringing in income right away, leveraging simple skills, a whole program that she has, and she's starting that today. And I said, we're gonna set goals on what your income's gonna be, like how you're gonna get there, and then we're gonna be intentional with every dollar that comes in. Let's restructure your debt. Let's look at your expenses. So not only am I taking her through a financial plan, but I'm showing her how to increase her margin, right? By increasing income, decreasing expenses. And then my goal with every client that will work with me this tightly, right, is I want to get you to the point of in a year, you're debt free. And 2 to 5 years now from now, you're able to be radically generous. You're able to start giving. The tithe, 10%. I say that because tithe means 10%, but the tithe of the Old Testament, there were actually three of them, so it was more like 26%. But in the Christian church today, we like to just say, give your 10%. I think God wants more, actually. I think that we should be free enough that we do what the Bible calls us to do in leaving an inheritance for our children's children. And again, you don't have to be wealthy to do that. You just have to structure things correctly, and anyone can do it. And I want to see people, like I said, become completely debt free and, starting their own nonprofits and building their own ministries and funding the ministries they love, and for God's people to just be free. So,
So I love what you're doing. And, you know, likely over the next 2, 3 weeks,
mhm.
there will be at least 700 people that watch this interview, maybe more. And so in that 600 to maybe 1,000 people that watch this, there could be people that resonate exactly with what you're saying about struggling financially, that are still looking for the aha moment, even though they don't even know they're looking for it.
Mhm.
Or there could be people like from a career perspective
Mhm.
that have been intrigued by what you're saying. Either one of those camps, how would they learn more about you and find you?
Yeah. Either prosperinthekingdom.com, and there's a form in the corner, and you can put my name as the one who referred you, or moneywithwendy.com is my personal website. I will say it's geared towards the ladies. So, but I do work with everybody, and you'll see Prosper in the Kingdom is not girly. But moneywithwendy.com. I do have a program on there. It's super inexpensive. I think it's 24 or $27. Debt Freedom Blueprint that, as a starting point for people that need to become debt free. But Yeah, either one. I'm really building out my YouTube channel right now. And I have a video on there that talks about what we do at Prosper in the Kingdom, the heart behind it, the problems people have with money and how we solve them, and how to plug in either learn more about the business or learn more about becoming a client. But we call it a wealth map as far as our clients go. We take them through a wealth map. So our first Zoom session is where you are today, what your income and expenses are, what your assets and liabilities are, what your goals are, what your roadblocks are. And then our second call is a map. It is showing you step by step in 6 different areas of money, the steps that you can take to set yourself financially free.
You guys want to reach out to Wendy if this has resonated at all. I can tell you, although I'm not a client of hers or in her downline, I have had a Zoom with her and we've had a conversation. And her insight to this topic is top notch. And what she learned, I guess, well, you've been learning, it's continuous the last 6 years, but specifically the last year and change. Uh, she's willing to jump on Zoom and help you with your finances. And I remember telling her that I wanted to be in a position to proactively give to more kingdom causes that I can't give to right now because it's reactionary.
Mm.
And she can help specifically in that area, I assure you. So don't hesitate to reach out to her on this. Wendy, this has been great. I appreciate you sharing everything from, the high school Wendy and the dreams you had as that young girl to being a Christian singer and, the journeys of up and down in the corporate world and the funny stories and the stories that launched you into entrepreneurship and then, eventually the success. Although a lot of hard work and ups and downs in the entrepreneur world too.
Mm.
But what comes shining through all of it is your heart to serve and your heart for personal growth and development. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you being here today.
Yeah, you bet.
Any last words of encouragement you would leave our viewers with today?
Uh, as far as finances, I want to say it's not too late to get a plan and to have a better outcome. And it's also never too early. For anyone younger watching, I say all the time, man, had I known in my
Mm,
20s or my 30s what I learned in my 40s about money, I would be in a very pretty position right now. I would be able to serve. Listen, the older you get, the less it becomes about having stuff, and the
yep.
more it becomes about having impact. And, I have my first grandbaby on the way, and I want to set that child up for success,
Mm,
more than I want a new pair of shoes or a bag, or, you know what I mean? Or the whatever for
mhm.
guys, the car or whatever. And so I would just say if you don't have somebody walking you through your finances, even if you feel like they're an absolute mess, literally like 95% of the people that we sit with financially are like, I'm so embarrassed. I mean, it's very rare you come across someone that's like, I got this. Very rare. So you are not alone, but I would say whether it's with me or somebody else that is in your network, get a financial plan and get it from a non-traditional advisor. Or if you have a traditional advisor, get a second set of eyes on your stuff and start being intentional with learning what God says about money. The book of Proverbs is a great place to start.
Indeed, it is. Great, great advice. I hope you guys have taken this to heart. And, you know, you're worthy of love, respect, and success. You're worthy of being able to make an impact. And it's not too late, like Wendy said. So reach out to her, be encouraged by the journey she's been on. I appreciate each and every one of you. Wendy, it's been tremendous having you. Thank you for being our guest
Thank you.
today.
Thank you. It's been good.
Guys, oh, sorry.
Oh, just
Um,
it was good to be here. Thank you for having me.
yeah, no, you were awesome. Wherever you're at on the journey, your story's not over yet. Wendy and I prayed before we went live, and I thank God for one more day because not everybody got to see today.
Mhm.
But if you're listening to this, you got to see today. It was a gift, and it means he's not done writing your story. Be encouraged by that wherever you're on the journey. Keep hanging on, keep improving 1% every day, and God will bless your efforts. Seek him first always. Appreciate you guys. Till next time, God bless.